should be up in maybe 30 seconds. Okay, is it up for him? Okay. I guess let's get this started. So first map is Busan. Let me know how the volume is too, because I don't know how that is for everyone.
I hear fine.
Okay.
It sounds fine.
Okay. So let me ask a quick question. So right now I'm looking at the comp that you have. I'm not sure if that's the. I mean, actually, let's fast forward a little bit. Okay, same question. What went into your decision as to why you chose to run that team composition?
Well, I picked Zenyatta so I can keep the orb on photo. And because the map is really huge, and I'm not really comfortable flying Mercy with it, I chosen to stay.
Wait,
Okay.
where's the string? I don't see it.
On Team Nightshade.
Yeah, it should be
It's
Nightshade.
paused right now.
Yeah, I
okay,
paused
on
the.
Team Nightshade.
Okay, so on Twitch.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
The stream should be. It'll look like it's paused, but it's I'm controlling it. But so the reason why I asked is because looking at the team comp, I'm wondering because Zenyatta is a very vulnerable target, right? And with a Zenyatta, you're kind of a sitting duck when you're playing it within this comp. So the only real thing you can do to protect yourself is to position yourself. But if the other team is running flankers or like if you can see Farah, then you're gonna have a hard time. So if you run something other than the Zenyatta, maybe an Ana that has more mechanics like the sleep dart or the nade that can burst heal herself, then maybe that could be an alternative.
Well, how does that work with running a Moira though?
With the Ana Moira. So
yeah, Ana Moira.
So the Moira is usually, well, I guess the Moira can kind of go with the tanks, right? Because she's very mobile. So then with that, she can burst heal the ball, the diva, keep them up, while Ana takes care of the Doomfist who's flying around and takes care of the Junkrat.
Okay, so you have no issue running a Ana Moira as the healers?
Mm-hmm. Now, an alternative to this composition as well, if you're running the Ana, is to run a Pharah. Right? So instead of a Junkrat, you run a Pharah, where you now have an advantage with the high ground, right? And if you run the Pharah, then you run a Mercy. So it would end up being, in this composition, this is actually what we run in Junkertown, where we run the Doomfist, Mercy, Ball, with Farah, Ana, and the Diva we interchange between Sombra because Fiery or Diva. And
So,
oh, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. Go ahead. Well, I guess is your main concern with the Zen because this is a like known Pharah map?
Not necessarily because it's a known Pharah map. It's more so because of how vulnerable he is. Because his hitbox is large, right? And he doesn't have mobility. So then he's vulnerable in that aspect. And if you look at the other heroes that are in your team, right? Doomfist is not much for taking care of his supports. He's more so into the back line or trying to go for flanks, right?
Oh, I see. So your
Oh,
concern is that we don't have the
a
DPS
peeler.
or yeah, we don't have somebody to peel to help the
A
Zen
peeler.
out.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes.
Okay, okay.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah, and yeah, so Zen is pretty tough to play in this composition because of that, right? Because he doesn't have anyone who can really peel besides the Diva. But if the Diva's not diving with the ball or right, so I think that would be an issue. Okay. Let me move forward because that was a little bit. Okay. So you identified that there was the far early, right?
Yeah, when we saw Farah, I immediately think that I should change. So I died immediately. So to change to soldier.
Mm-hmm. So because you were on the Doomfist, right?
Yep.
That was a good decision to decide that you want to change as quickly as possible. But I guess another thing that you could think, or an option would be to try to run back, right? Because you have the mobility with the Doomfist anyways. But another thing is because there's a Doomfist, right? Or not a Doomfist, sorry. Just because there's a Pharah, I think it doesn't mean that you have to switch right away. So then in this case, you can identify who's the priority target, who you want to go after first, and you rotate with the team. So in this case, Junkrat may be the most vulnerable, or maybe just punching the Reinhardt into your team, where you can deal much larger damage with your Junkrat and the Zenyatta Discord. So I think you don't necessarily have to go for counter picks right away. If it's the first fight, I think you can always go ahead and not worry about that and just try to win out that first fight, because especially for King of the Hill maps, it's hard to retake it, right? So then I think the first fight is very important, where whatever the decisions you made right away, it's fine to go ahead and do it.
So it sounds like you're saying just roll with it.
Yeah,
Try to do the best you can with it.
Yeah, exactly. So I would say just roll with the composition that you have starting out, because if you're making composition swaps, based off of the enemy team, right? Then you're giving up that one fight where they can have the ultimate advantage afterwards, right? Because if you die right here, you're now playing a 5 versus 6, right?
Yeah.
And then now you look at all the health that you have. You have the ball, you have the diva, you have all of that, plus your healing, right? So then if you look at the enemy team's charge, right, just from the Doomfist alone, you look at their charge, and Reinhardt's already at 37% ult charge. The Junkrat's already at 35% ult charge. So if you decide to do a quick reset right there and let them go after you, then you already gave them the ultimates. So then they'll win the next fight, or they have a higher chance, and you're now at a disadvantage. So it could be a better play to just roll with what you got at that point.
So roll and try not to feed, I guess.
Yeah. So like roll with it, and even if you know there's a Pharah, just try to think of other weak points in the enemy team, right? Because, yeah.
Well, no, I mean, like, at what point then do you decide to swap if it isn't going well? Do you wait until you have ult? Or do you wait until they use ult to switch?
So in this case, you roll for the first fight, right? And if the first fight, you end up losing, then I think it's okay to switch, right?
Okay.
But if you go into the first fight, and you think I need to swap right now, then I think that's a different kind of play, and I think you should just roll with what you have and see where it takes you there.
Okay.
Okay. I like the callouts. So actually, one thing that I noticed, Cloud, since you're on the ball, right?
Oh, she's not here.
Whoops. Well, I guess
But she can
when.
watch
Yeah,
it.
you
Yeah,
can tell us.
Yeah, so
She will
Cloud right
watch
now
it
on the
anyways.
ball, or like whenever someone's playing on the ball, ball has a lot of opportunities to disrupt the enemy team, right? So with the mobility and the boop, in this case, Cloud could be taking a different angle and push the enemy team away from all of you. So let me see. Let me see if this works. Okay, so let me pick this color. So if you noticed, all of you are kind of lined up right here, right, in this area, and they're kind of just setting up in this point, firing at you, while still taking cover here, right? So one thing that the ball can do is roll around this side, right? Or roll around this side. Right, either side, and then the ball can boop the enemy team into your line of sight right here, right? And now you have the upper hand when it comes to positioning, where you have more areas where you can hide behind. And then the enemy team will be kind of disrupted, trying to figure out where the ball is. So with Wrecking Ball, I think his biggest attribute is causing disruption. So booping the enemy team to your sightlines is one big, a big opportunity that you can use for him.
Wait, input says stream can't hear it.
The stream?
Oh, I think she just means that she can't hear the audio from the video.
Yeah,
But
this
we
one
can
doesn't
hear you
have any
talk.
audio.
Yeah, like if you try to listen just to the stream alone, you don't hear the comments.
Like the callouts and stuff.
Oh,
Plus your own audio, I think.
let me change that really quick. Okay, hopefully that works. Is that better?
Slamming?
Yes.
Ryan's
Okay.
out.
It's a little delayed, by the way, but it's fine.
Well,
Just so, like, you know.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Tire? Oh, huge.
Fire's Discord. Oh, Reinhardt Discord.
Yeah, Reinhardt is out.
I almost have
low.
tire.
Oh, shoot.
Ryan's half.
Ryan,
Drunk
Ryan. Get him down.
Run.
No, Reinhardt
Fire.
Discord.
Oh, nice.
Oh, god damn it.
Oh, it's too.
Ryan's low.
Ryan's, yeah.
Ryan's down.
Felix in the back.
Sorry.
Ryan's half. No personal?
Oh no! No!
Reinhardt Discorded.
Okay. Let me see if I can pull up a map of this, or like an overview, top down. I can't find one. Let me see if Ari gives us a good perspective. So, for that fight, it was kind of what I was mentioning when it came to disrupting, right? Where if you see this perspective right here, all of Nightshade is kind of grouped up within this little alleyway, right? And with that, Reinhardt's shield gets a lot of value because all he needs to do is stand here, and he's protecting his team from all the fire that all of you are providing. But with that, he's never forced to turn around, right? There's nothing disrupting him from a different angle, maybe this angle right here, right? So I think something to keep in mind is how the team plays relative to the enemy's team positioning. So if you see the enemy team kind of just lining up this way, right, then it might be worthwhile to take a separate a little bit with the DPS. So like I know Photo goes Soldier, so if Soldier takes an off angle where this arrow right here is, then now Reinhardt has to pay attention to the Soldier, right? So he can't just focus his shield where the whole team is. He has to be more careful about the Soldier on the off angle.
sense, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go back to.
Slamming. Ryan's half. If up coalescence. Ryan's half.
My heart discorded.
Also, another thing to keep in mind is they have Junkrat, so then he can provide a lot of spam if everyone's within the same area too.
Nice.
Tyre.
That was
Watch out, Mercy. Right?
Watch out, watch out.
God damn it! I was trying
you
to
say
kill
that
it.
we
Mercy's
should
dead. No
have
res.
dispersed ourselves.
So usually you can kind of take two groups with this composition. So then in this case, Diva could be with your Zenyatta and the Junkrat, where Moira, Ball, and Soldier are on a different angle.
Hmm.
So then with the other team, if they're trying to focus down on, let's say, the Diva, Junkrat, and Zen, then who's watching for the Ball, right? Who's watching for the Soldier and Moira? They would have to split their resources, and then they would be much more disrupted from your fire, from one end.
Moira's
You're
discorded.
good on the point.
Nice cap.
Our main heals are dead.
Touch point.
Down point if you can.
I tried.
Ryan's low.
Damn, Bandit contesting like a boss.
Okay, we did something with that Farah, but not with that Junkrat.
So, sorry, quick question. Within the map, did you think the Pharah was an issue? Like, I guess looking back at the Scrim, or that map specifically, what did you think was the issue with why the map played out like that?
The Junkrat.
I think mainly the Junkrat was the problem. Or at least that was what I said just before the match ended.
Mm-hmm.
The Junkrat was giving us hell, and we only changed it to one hit scan to try and take care of the Farah,
Mm-hmm.
and that was it.
Okay. So I think the swap was good, but I get kind of pointing back to the original, the first point I made was after you gave up the point, Junkrat, his value really gets to shine, right? Because his spam, where he does so much damage if everyone's just going down a single corridor, right? Because he can kind of just lob all of his bombs through it. So I think that the team composition after you swap to the Soldier was really good for their to go against the Junkrat. and the Reinhardt Zarya. So
I think too another issue, just team wise, I think sometimes we're just a little bit slow starting, like kind of getting together.
okay. So do you normally do like a team warm up beforehand?
I don't know that we did that scrim, did we?
No, we didn't. Oh wait.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah,
a
we
game.
did. Yeah, we did a game.
We did a quick play right before.
Yeah, but that was just one quick play.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so I guess that makes a lot more sense, because I know Junkertown does the same, where yeah, everyone's really slow starting off because no one warms up. So, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
So do we want to make any changes, or?
Well, if we think
should- we should-
if we think that they're gonna run the fair again and we were having a hard time, then maybe we should
Yeah.
go to hit scans.
Yeah.
Okay. I can change
can
to
also
Ash if
replace-
you want the soldier.
The soldier's good.
I mean,
Yeah,
if
whichever
you
one
think
you're
you
more
can hit
comfortable
her,
with.
but Alex, I think you're gonna have to swap.
Yeah, I want to swap, but I kind of. Okay.
If you want soldier, Photo's comfortable with Ash, and you can take soldier.
Would you rather switch?
You just need
Yeah.
to swap. Yeah.
Okay.
then
I
swap.
I just did that.
All right.
All right.
Yeah,
Go
they used to at
on.
the pharmacy.
Fine.
Quick.
Ryan's low.
They're still running the.
Sorry, no friendly. Oh, I need heals.
Got you.
Thank you.
Farah.
Blocked it.
Already?
Ryan's low.
All right. Regroup.
Okay. So for this first map, I noticed that you were kind of slow to kind of run out of the gates, right? And that was because of trying to decide on what composition to play. Let's see. So in between maps, I think that's a good time to discuss what you want to play. But I think that there might be or there I noticed there's a lot of indecision when it came to deciding on who's playing what, right? So maybe going in with a composition that you feel comfortable with, or one that you think is kind of a go-to. I think that would be perfectly fine to do if you don't know what to play. For this one, I noticed that you guys decided to go with a double hit scan, but that was more so to counter the widow, not the widow, the Pharah. But is there usually a team composition that you run on this map? Like, is there something that you're comfortable playing?
Not
I
on
think
this map.
Yeah, we don't
we
have a
usually go dive in this one.
I never really like noticed if we did like make a specific one.
Only one time we went goats in this one, but
We don't have a comp.
we usually I usually notice that is Monkey Diva and the rest.
Okay. Because I think
feel like
go on. Go ahead.
Like for me, when I'm playing, I usually just pick depending on whatever Cloud does. Honestly, like depending on the tank she plays, I feel like we go off of that a lot.
The only map we have a comp for is
Junkertown.
Anubis
Anubis,
and
yeah.
Junkertown, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think it might be worthwhile to maybe think of like multiple compositions that you feel comfortable with. So like in this case, I know Photo said that you usually run Monkey Diva. So that could be kind of an indicator, or like a fallback in case something isn't working. So like in the first map where you lost, you can fall back to the second map where it's Monkey Diva and you're more comfortable with it. So then you kind of know how to play with the team better. You play a little bit tighter because you're more comfortable. So I think, I guess bottom line is, it might be better to try to see what team compositions feel more comfortable per map, and then try to use that as a fallback in case something doesn't work, or to start off with those if you don't know what to really run.
What's a comp that you would recommend for this map?
For this map, I really like the Winston Diva because of the high ground, right? Because the Winston is able to kind of contest a Widow if they have one, and to really move around much easier. As far as the DPS goes, I know I prefer also Widow. Pharah is very good here too because of the site, or the high ground. And the supports would probably be Mercy to take care of the Widow and the Pharah, or whatever other DPS. Maybe instead of the Widow, you run McCree, Soldier, whatnot. Those Mercy works really well with them. And then the Moira also is very good. But I think Moira is interchangeable with Ana, because nano boosting your Winston gets a lot of value. So yeah, I guess going back to the first fight here, I think the team probably would have had a much better chance if there was you both sides went out at the same time. But because you left the spawn doors very slowly, the enemy team was able to take position with the Reinhardt. And when it comes to Reinhardt versus Reinhardt, you want to make sure that you fight on equal grounds, or the Reinhardt with the better position is usually going to have a much easier time defending that position. It's very hard to reclaim the space that you lost as the Reinhardt.
Yep, regroup.
Alright, how far up are they gonna...
They're holding pretty far up. Let's go this way, over here.
They have the junk on the ceiling, just FYI.
And then keep going around.
Firehouse!
There's a junk on high ground. Oh, that Farah.
Younger behind, be careful.
Here, it's just you, Taco.
Okay, I'm gonna try to get out.
Here, I got
We
it.
need to
Where is
regroup
she?
here, I think.
We gotta get more
I'm
focus.
getting back. I'm getting back.
Orion's back. Okay, never mind. Don't push that. Fuck me. Okay.
Junk's that way. We're gonna have to push main, I think. There's too much risk of getting booped off. Farah's probably got ult.
One quick thing that I noticed is that there was less planning. So I know there were callouts that the Pharah has ult and that you wanted to go main, but what happens when you go main, right? Is there something that you're trying to play for? I know you have the Shatter, you have the Diva Bomb, right? So how are you going to take the next step and win that fight? What is your I want to say, what is the win condition for you in this fight? Is it trying to play against their range shield and try to win that shield battle where you can get the Earth Shatter and maybe combo that with your Diva Bomb? Or I guess what I think maybe there should be some kind of discussion as to what should be done. Like what's the plan moving forward from this point?
Well, I'm not sure what you mean. Sorry.
It's okay. So what I mean is going into this fight, I know, or going into the fight, there was no real plan that was made to go in, right? Like making a plan to combo Shatter and Diva Bomb. That is a plan, right? And just something like that where you want to know what you need to do to go into the next fight instead of just going one direction but not knowing what you're really doing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I guess just trying to come up with a plan for what you want to do on the next fight, or like planning for the fight after this one, right? Just knowing what you need to do next.
Nice. There we go.
Huge.
Can we push that?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, push.
Oh god damn it! I got the Farah, but damn.
Just Moira on the point. She's dead.
And
Wait,
Junkrat.
no, Junkrat.
Please. Got
Dead,
the,
dead.
yeah.
Okay, it's just me.
Good.
Okay, well.
Cap it.
Alright, well, we
I'm
got it.
running back. I'm running
Doing a
back.
little tap dance.
90% Bob.
Bandit
That's
with the stalling.
Ryan's probably got Shatter. Yep.
That Ryan is low.
Moira's one.
Yeah.
What? Oh no.
Moira?
Be careful, be careful.
Sorry,
Zarya's really low.
So I like the target calling and the target focusing, but another thing that I noticed is that when it comes to the ultimate usage, I'd like to hear more calling out when you're going to use something. So like when it comes to Bob, calling out, hey, I'm going to use Bob here, kind of lets everyone else know whether or not they need to use their ultimates or if they can hold it, right, for the next fight. Kind of looking forward to how you're going to save your ultimate or use it for winning that next fight that you're going to have to face.
Yeah, I definitely need to work on that too.
Yeah.
Where's the fair? Okay, I see her now. Can I get a little heals, please?
Yep.
Thank you.
Fair is low.
Ryan's pushing up by himself.
Careful with the Saria, don't overpower her.
Where's that junk? He's above me. Behind!
Wow.
I'm trapped off point.
Fire.
Interesting.
That chunk. Okay. The Junkrat.
Team wiped us.
Yeah, I like the question of where's the Junkrat because I know that was a big priority for all of you within that. So like just the call out where's Junkrat to check with everyone is really good. I think that was just unfortunate that he was right there behind everyone when that question came up. But yeah, questions like to ask everyone where's the Junkrat, what ultimates were used. I think those are really strong, like really good questions to ask because it kind of gets everyone thinking about it. But yeah, in this case, Junkrat just made a big play, and I think if you see someone flanking, that's a call out that you need to make. Right, so if someone saw, let's say, Far moving around to a right side flank towards, was it towards this area over here, right, moving around, then I think that's a call out that should be made. Or if they're entering this area, this location right here, that's something that needs to be called. Like just the overall position of the team, and maybe if someone's flanking, taking a different angle than their team, just so that everyone knows how to prepare for that.
I am running, but I don't think I can make it. Yeah. Ow.
So I noticed that there was no discussion during this period. again, I think during that downtime, it's really good to kind of plan for what you're going to do on this first fight, right? Because you've seen the other team play the same comp twice. I think it would probably be safe to say that they'll play it again, and so you know what they're playing. It'd be a good idea to try to plan against that. Because you have more time to do so.
What more could have been done to like counter the comp better than they were?
So Junkrat is really good with spam, right? So if you're running a stationary team composition with like the Ryan Zarya, it's hard to really move in because he can break the shield much easier, and if you drop the shield, then everyone in the backline is getting hit, right? So I think running maybe a Winston Diva could be a better option, or like the first map you were running the hamster Diva, and Junkrat has a much harder time hitting that ball, hitting that Diva than he does hitting the Reinhardt, right?
Oh, huge.
Oh, Mercy's low. Mercy's low.
Yeah, in general.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm on point.
So just that could be a good
I need heals.
option to run. Also running a Pharah as well, right? Because Junkrat also can't hit flying targets, or it's really hard for him to do so. So if you use the Pharah and you're forcing them to turn around on you, then it makes it harder for the Junkrat to get value.
Oh,
Okay.
Rank 1.
Can we get
dead.
Zarya?
Zarya?
Nice. She got bubbled. Watch that Junkrat.
Zarya's one. Or, never mind.
Junkrat's trying to target me.
I've got 3 of them on me. If I can get any help on point.
I'm trying to help you. Me and Kira are here with you.
He's one.
I appreciate the heals. You guys are doing great.
Zarya.
There we go. Nice. Oh, get
Jones,
this.
low.
Nice. Nice. Fire's up.
Freya, top corner. She's low.
If anyone needs heals, there's some.
So I like the way that the team took different angles in this fight. Like you saw, the Junkrat was getting much less value because he has to figure out who he's shooting, and with so much open space and not many people clumped up together, he doesn't get the same amount of damage as he normally would if it's a closer quarter, right? So I think that's a really good play. And then the Pharah, because there's so much open air that she has to go through, the double hit scan that you were running really shut her down. So I think this map was a really good turnaround.
1 point.
I have slam. They grabbed. We haven't seen barrage yet.
No, no barrage. We got tired too.
Yeah, but he's getting tired really fast. So
I
he
think they're
probably
coming
already
right
has it.
again.
Can someone
you're
read inputs, comments,
shatter?
just so they can be recorded with this as well?
All of them, or do you want?
As they're coming, maybe?
Okay.
Okay. Here, let me also pull it up.
It might not be a bad idea to just read them from the start again. They're good.
Yeah, if you can read the questions from the start or any comments, that would be great. Were there any questions from it?
I don't see that.
Okay. Then let's keep going.
Oh, he might.
Well, her latest
think
one
he
was
already
a good
used
one.
it.
She said, "How can we
There's
lose
that.
this fight can be a great question
Nice.
to ask yourself to predict things that might wipe you, so you can take evasive
If I
action
get ready
before
to
it
turn again,
happens,
I might
or at
check.
least know what
I'm
you
trying
should
to
do if it
harass him from the
happens.
side.
In this case, oh no, Junkrat should have Tire by now.
I got Ryan.
Means play split and fight."
So you kind of cut out a little bit at the end. Play split
Rip.
and
Find Junkrat.
okay. Yeah, Input makes a really good point there where you do want to identify what points will really, or what the enemy's win conditions are, right? So what can the enemy do to win that fight? So in this case, Input points out that the Junkrat has Tire, right? You can see that Junkrat has Tire, Farah has Barrage, Moira has her Coalescence. So in that fight, there's a lot of things that you have to watch out for. And one big indicator is that Junkrat Tire, Fire Barrage gets a lot of value if everyone's clumped up together, right? So one play that could be done is splitting up, right? Trying to split up and not or try to make sure that not everyone is getting caught in that ultimate, and that if you do lose a fight, you forced out all of their ultimates instead of just one Junk Tire or one Barrage that gets everyone, right? So yeah, Input makes a good point where you should think about what win conditions that the enemy team has so you can plan for it.
Tire again.
That's coming from us.
Okay, at least it only got me.
Yep, there's justice.
Let's go.
Damn.
I'm fine.
Hamster, hamster.
Where is that Junkrat? Cause he's like wrecking us.
It's in point. It's in point. There's a trap. Be careful.
I am so close to killing him, but he
Hamster's low,
keeps
hamster.
getting heals. Oh god. I was trying to get
Come on,
that
come on,
tire.
come on.
So in this fight, I noticed that Ash and Soldier both left the high ground position and just dropped down to the point. I think against their composition especially, it's much better to just stay on the high ground and let the tanks contest the point instead of dropping and playing with them. That's most likely, or more likely, to at least it helps you maintain the angles of attack that really won you the fights before, and it also makes it difficult for the enemy team to really focus on one target, right? Or focus on the team. So if you all jump down and you clump up together, then that's where, if you notice, the Junkrat started getting much more value, where he charged his ultimate twice, or he got his tire really quick within that one fight, right? He was able to use 2 tires for one fight. And so if the team, I guess especially the Soldier, Mercian, Ash maintaining that high ground is better. And Input asks, what makes a high ground advantageous? I guess that's a question for all of you. Can anyone answer that?
Well, for me, playing as Ash,
Katie says,
it's better. Huh?
I'm sorry, my Discord is cutting.
Oh, for me, playing as Ash or any other DPS hits high ground makes me aim better. I can look over who's the most vulnerable and attack him directly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you're right there, where having the high ground gives you an advantage where you can see much more people, right? And then it's much harder for the enemy team to really block your fire. So let's say, for example, you had Soldier on the high ground and he had Tactical Visor. If they're playing a Reinhardt, right, and Reinhardt was right in front of the Soldier, like on level ground, then Reinhardt's gonna block all of that, right? But what happens if you put Reinhardt on the low ground and you have Soldier on the high ground? Then Reinhardt's gonna have a much harder time defending his team from that tactical visor, right? Or from any kind of fire from the Soldier. So if you maintain that high ground, you're getting much more damage onto the enemy team, as opposed to lining up for them on the low ground, right? Where they're able to absorb much more damage than they would be able to if you were on the high ground attacking them. And Caro, that was also a good answer where you said you can back out and hide. Just the angle, it's harder for them to really hit you, right? So let's say a Soldier on the high ground versus a Soldier on the low ground. The Soldier on the low ground can't really see all of the Soldier on the high ground. Yeah, very good point by Input as well. If you have the high ground, you get to choose the fights on your own terms. You can fight if you want, but you can also get cover if you need it and also heal up. Another thing could be said where if you're especially playing a Mercy, the high ground gives Mercy much more flexibility to maneuver around. So it gives her the mobility too. So it's not just the DPS that gets value. Any questions?
No.
Okay.
Come home if you can.
I'm back behind you.
I haven't bobbed.
Okay,
They're
we've
still fighting. So,
yeah, we've committed Bob, so we gotta go in.
Junk slow, junk slow. Zarya.
Bull's half. I got grabbed.
Zarya's low. Zarya's one. Okay, she's dead. Just Lucia.
Bull.
Okay.
More. Nice.
Farah?
I'm after.
Where is she?
She's on point. Or
Junkrat's on point. Junkrat.
Junk's low is one.
Okay. Oh.
Lucio.
Lucio's one.
Watch.
Moira's one.
You got a Zarya on your ass, Cloud.
Yeah, I hear.
I'm after the Zarya. She's low. She's one.
Ball's dead.
Nice.
Nice.
That was a good map
I'm gonna pin
take. So one thing that really stood out to me was the way all of you committed with the Bob and the way the call out was made. So one big indicator was that when the Ashe used Bob, right? The call out was made, hey, we committed Bob. Let's fight this fight, right? And everyone bought into it. And when everyone buys into that, right, it kind of gets the ball rolling. So one thing that I know is it's much better for everyone to buy into a decision than it is to have 2 people buy in or 3 people buy in and another 3 thinking otherwise, because that means you're not putting your full effort into it, right? So then committing all to a decision, even though it may not be the right decision, is still better than not committing at all. So in this case, the decision to engage with the Bob was really good, and it won you that last fight.
Junkrat, just for fun.
Good, because she was a pain in the ass.
I think once we started kind of,
Okay, I'm going McCree then.
I'll go a diva just because they might do the Pharah again. Or I might just switch to Zarya because that might be better for our heals.
I would love to see a Zarya Ryan arm wrestle match.
Yeah, it would be pretty entertaining.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah,
pay for
Taco,
that.
arm wrestle right now.
So I noticed that you're going back to the Baptiste. Was there a reason why you decided to do that?
Fortunately, due to game limitations.
Cause I thought I could heal Diva better, and for the ability, cause they had that junk.
Okay. So I think Baptiste is a very good defensive hero, right? So like if the other team was running a Baptiste instead of Moira, I think that would be very strong. But for attack, a lot of his abilities are based off of being stationary, right? Within a group. And if you know that they're probably going to run the Junkrat, if they're probably going to run the Pharah, they actually outdamage your healing, right?
Yeah, it was also to help Cloud too.
Mm-hmm.
Cause a lot of the other off healers don't really have that much healing.
Yeah.
Isn't Embalm Field good for tires too?
It's good for tire, but at the same time, if you're healing up your team enough for that, so that the Junkrat can get tire almost every fight, then I don't think the invulnerability field is really going to get you any more value than any other support, right? Because the Junkrat tire is just going to keep happening, and you only have one invulnerability field.
Mm-hmm.
So in this case, you know that they're running the Junkrat, right? Maybe a Lucio for mobility would help, right? or playing afar on your own so that you can disrupt them, right? So that their Junkrat would have to kind of run away from the fire or, you know, take harder angles so that he isn't providing the spam damage that he got so much value out of.
That's sad. Why is the spectator laughing?
I don't know, maybe they did something on the other side.
Alright, through building. Barrier broke. I can body block.
Rotate.
Ooh, taco.
Down.
Yep, I need heals.
Yep.
Let the shield rest.
Wait, we're
Okay,
down.
we lost
We
two.
We gotta go back.
Yeah.
Come on home.
I like the callouts for shield and retreating.
God.
Yeah, we need to watch out for that Junkrat.
Ah.
Calling out resources
Yep.
is really good thing to
half.
do. So it was
Ooh, they're
nice
far
to hear.
Alright, are we 6?
Yep.
Alright, barrier's gonna go quick. Go.
Be careful, there's Safara.
Watch, this junk's gonna spam in here too.
Oh no.
Oh,
I got him.
Oh. Yeah, that was
He was
right there.
I didn't know he was on high ground.
Oh my god.
If you don't mind me asking, what SR is this team?
I think their average was 2K.
2K.
Yeah, so they have a forgot who, I think it was Dongo was a plat. The Junkrat was a gold for sure, and then the rest were high silver.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the junk was 2400.
Wasn't the Junkrat a high gold?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah.
Okay, because the Junkrat to me has been making a lot of smart plays, and I think he's playing at a higher level than his SR. But at the same time, it kind of like what Input was saying, the padding, right? So then, although the Junkrat was getting a lot of value, right? It seemed like he was very much so the carry within these two fights, right? The padding that you took was very tight, and it allowed the Junkrat to get a lot of spam damage onto the Reinhardt, where if he wasn't holding up shield, then his shield, or if he was holding up shield, then the shield's broken, or if not, then the team gets hit by a lot of damage, right? So Junkrat was able to get a lot of value there because of the way you were pathing.
So what would have been better here? Just like go straight to point through the right? Like don't go through the rooms?
Well, no, the rooms are fine, right? Because the just the way the map is laid out, and I misinterpreted Input's comments. I understand now. So Input was saying that the team was going around the right side, right? Before you enter the choke. And so if you're moving around the right side, actually let me see if I can get a better view.
Barrier broke. I can body. Fortunately, dude. Must run out.
Let's see. Here. Okay. So what Input was saying was that the team took this way around, right? Instead of going this direction. And so if you took this, where the blue arrow is, if you took this direction and you tried to go into the room on the left, then you're opening yourself up to a lot of damage, and you're using up much more resources than you really should or need to. Right? Whereas if you went from the direction on the left where this pink arrow is, and you wrapped around, or if you went through the center right here, then you're taking much less damage and using much less resources than trying to cross them. Right?
Mm-hmm. I didn't even notice that we did that.
Let's
Well, we're pretty hardwired to always go right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Was it righty tighty,
Because
lefty
Fiery
loosey?
told us in another VOD review
That's sad.
not to
'Cause of
go
boops.
left.
Well, you actually don't have to go left, so you can go
Click onto the
straight.
building.
Yeah, you can go straight into this building right here. Right? So then instead of going around where you can get booped,
Okay, yeah, that's a good point.
yeah, you can go into the building, and now you're right here instead of out here where you can get pulled or booped by Lucio or whatever.
Why is the spectator laughing?
I don't
So
know,
yeah,
maybe they did
if you notice
something
right
on the
there,
other
you went to
side.
the right side, and the Reinhardt shield was
building?
already almost broken by the time you got to the
Yeah.
left.
Barrier broke. I can body block.
Rotate, rotate, rotate.
Ooh, taco.
And it
Down.
also,
maybe
if you
he'll-
notice, it gave Junkrat the time to
Let the
kind of
shield
just
rest.
walk up
Let
into the
shield
team.
rest.
Wait, we're
Okay,
down.
we
lost
Right.
you.
We gotta go back.
Yeah.
Come on home.
Oh God.
Yeah, we need to watch out for that Junkrat.
Yep.
He's half. Ooh, they're Farah.
Okay.
Maybe 4 to 2. Where
Oh,
are we
there's
at here?
Safari.
I didn't know he was on high ground. Okay, we might. Let's see. If Junk is gonna hang out on high ground, we might need somebody to go up and contest him. Because he's just gonna wreck shields and tire us. Alright, around truck, but then just up to point. Go to point.
Fair.
Oh, mother. Okay.
Behind.
Behind you.
Yep. Okay, we need a diva or some sort of.
Yeah, I'm gonna switch to Diva.
Side or
Yeah.
suicide.
Yeah.
So,
I can't even find a time to shoot it.
really quick, if you noticed, just the way the Junkrat was setting up for the play, I think it's good to try to take different approaches, right? So instead of trying to go left each time, maybe going directly into them, going to the right side room, and then taking the high ground instead. I think those are all valid opportunities or valid plans to take. Because if you continue going the same direction, trying to continue the same plan, the enemy team knows what you're going to be doing next, right? Or they have an idea of what you're going to be doing next. So then if you notice, the Junkrat set up his trap there, and again, he got tired from the spamming into that direction. So try mixing things up if you know it isn't working.
Yeah.
It's the Junkrat. There's a trap right
Yeah.
there. In that door.
It's gone.
Alright. Oh.
Oh, she got Matrix.
Junkrat's
And
one.
Mercy's dead.
Nice shot, nice shot.
I ended up on high ground somehow.
I almost have high noon.
Yep. Oh, unlucky.
Yeah, that was a really good diva play, but from both sides, I should say. But it was unlucky that Cloud got moved up to the high ground.
We can try Shatter and then Soldier's ult. Break shield. I mean, it's the only thing we have.
Alright, I'm pushing up. Shatter. Got 3.
Marissa's one.
Mercy's dead.
Oh, fucking fire.
Okay, it only got 3. He's high ground. He's on top of the.
Nice.
Okay, I'm gonna go up there as soon as.
And then battle Mercy.
Nice.
Huh.
Oh,
Alright, yeah, way to pull it together.
I can trust myself as McCray.
So, going into this fight, what did you think really swung that?
I think the hammer. And what you talked about before, committing. We all kind of committed with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We got 2 picks in the beginning, and then Hammer came in, and it was pretty over for them.
Yeah, so then it was big plays from the Soldier tactical visor, and then huge shatter at the other end, and yeah, everyone committed to it, and that. So if you notice, a lot of 2CP caps, right? If you notice, they happen when it's like overtime push, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so one thing that is pretty noticeable about those overtime pushes is that everyone has, or I need to rephrase that. So since it's the last second, it's overtime. You have to commit or you're going to lose, right? So then everyone commits to a single plan, and that's when they finally take that point, right? And that kind of goes back to when everyone's committing, it's still a better play than not committing, right? Regardless of whether or not it's the right decision. So in this case, maybe using all those ultimates, not ideal, right? But everyone committed to that play, right? Everyone committed to, hey, we're pushing up now. We're pushing up straight into them. Let's commit our ultimates and let's cap the point, right? And focus down specific targets. And I think that was what really swung that fight.
Oh no. I didn't have time. Fuck.
There's one.
Shield regen.
He's up on, yeah.
He's low.
I'm going Sombra.
Junk's to the left. So Spara.
I need heals.
Yep.
Shatter. No, the shield's going. I have no shield. No, I have, yeah,
Oh boy.
kind of booped in.
What happened to me?
Okay, let's back out.
Diva hacked. Diva has ult.
Junkrat's pushing far, really forward. We just back out if you're alive.
I am. I'm hiding.
Diva's got bomb.
Let's group up with Cloud in the
Yeah.
back.
So photo, when you're on the Sombra here, I think your mobility and just the way the map is laid out, you can probably, instead of waiting for the team to regroup and everything, you can spend your time trying to farm for your EMP. So then, you know that the Orisa is going to be kind of turtled up on the point, maybe on this side. Then you can, you know, set your translocator maybe over here, take a wide flank over, and just farm for her. Right? And also, in the meantime, set up plays so then you can hack the mega that's in the room over here. You can hack their mini by their spawn. Just so that you're setting up for the next push. Right? Because Sombra, I guess Fiery would probably be a better person to kind of explain this, but Sombra, she probably already explained this actually, but you know, her kit is to kind of disable, right? And to really yeah, I guess to disable.
Yeah, she's a disruptor, not a.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So by oh, go on.
Yeah, I was more focused on taking the point and distract them than setting up the team. It did not occur to me that I could hack the health packs.
Mm-hmm.
I usually do, but I didn't. And yeah, I was more focused taking the point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I noticed that you were flexing to a lot of different characters, right? To a lot of different heroes. So I know for a fact that Sombra's a completely different play style than Soldier and whatnot, right? So, you know, Soldier, you're just going for getting those kills. Whereas Sombra, you have to be a little bit more careful. You have to be more cognitive, where you're trying to think about how you're setting up for the next play. You're calling out positioning. You should be calling out when everyone's ready to engage, or when everyone should be engaging, because you're the one that sees enemy positions, right? Because you can scout for all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's something to keep in mind when you do jump onto the Sombra.
Probably they have time to be careful.
We just have to assume that every 2 seconds.
We can try shatter. We can try shatter and then bomb
Shatter,
and
bomb,
or
yeah.
and or clouds. Or I mean, Gem's ult too.
Oh, Farah has ult too.
Of course she does.
I just hacked her. But she's preparing to ult behind us, so be careful.
So keep DM for
Oh god. Okay, that wasn't too bad. I have Cola.
I'm gonna push up, cast shield and shatter.
Okay, wait, we're not all together.
Yeah.
I like that call
Okay,
out.
I think we're all close. We're all close.
Okay, my shield's really low. I don't have shield.
We have one healer left.
Oh boy.
Thank you.
So the fight, Unfortunately, it didn't turn out the way that we'd hope, but I like the way that you guys planned for this fight, where the call was made to walk past the shield, shatter, and then commit on that, right? But I think the kind of the reason that that fell through was the way that Reinhardt was pressured through all of that, right? Where the shield was kind of busted, and then the pole pulled him back, so he had to use all the resources before you can even engage. You did have the ultimate advantage, but I think ultimately it was kind of just Reinhardt was being pressured a lot throughout the whole, and maybe if you had a Lucio to increase his mobility, or taking a different approach and being a little bit more patient when entering, so maybe counting the enemy's cooldowns, right? If you know the Orisa use pull, then you can kind of engage on that, or just something to think about when engaging. So like what they used, what cooldowns they used, so you can find those smaller opportunities to take ground.
We gotta push. We gotta go now.
Let's go. I'm trapped. I'm trapped. Somebody's gotta go. You gotta go.
First one.
Get the mercy.
She's low. She's one.
Okay.
Got her. Diva.
I'm back.
Okay, they're gonna keep
Press up, press
pushing
up.
out, though, yeah.
Orisa.
Yeah, but it's...
Don't let them set up. Oh, up that tire. Nice. Nice. Huge, yeah, huge.
Lucio hacked. Lucio hacked.
Jump.
Moira.
Huge.
Oh god, that was huge.
Diva. She's one.
Ba.
I'm gonna slam ball.
Ball's one. Ball's probably got ult soon, so get rid of him.
Lucio?
Oh, nice job.
Like Input said, what a comeback. So I'm gonna ask you, like all the other fights, what do you guys think, or what do you all think really led to this fight being won?
We committed, and Taco made some huge plays.
Yeah, that was a big part of it, but I think one of the bigger indicators was that in the beginning, Reinhardt was being very slow to move in, and the team kind of just waited at the choke, where the enemy team has so much spam, right? So then by the time you were able to even move in, you used up all your resources, right? So by pushing directly into them right away, you were able to kind of overwhelm them, right? And I guess if you look at their composition, not this one, right here. So if you notice their composition, right, they have the Orisa, they have the, actually let me keep going back until the push.
Let's go. I'm trapped. Somebody's gotta go. You gotta go.
So Actually, not here. Sorry, a little bit further back.
Be careful.
Scatterbound,
and/or
So if you notice their positioning right here, I think you should take a look at what your advantages are when running the Reinhardt as opposed to your Orisa. If you notice, they're holding right here, which is really close to the choke, right? With Reinhardt and D.Va, right? Your team is much more mobile if you look at it, right? You have the Sombra who can get into the backline really easily. You have Moira who can really easily follow anyone in this team. D.Va, Soldier, Mercy, and all of that, right? They're very mobile, as opposed to what they have, right? Where the Orisa is very stationary. Junkrat is pretty much going to stick with that Orisa. So if the team commits on a push, right, and goes directly at them, that's going to overwhelm the team, and especially since it's a close distance. This is a distance that D.Va can actually defense matrix all of Junkrat's fire, right? So you can close off that distance really quickly, where the Orisa doesn't have the time to back up because of how slow she is, right? So I think at the last push, the team really committed on a push because everyone was trying to get onto the point really quickly, right? And so that overwhelmed them, and it ended up being actually the win condition to really finish that fight out.
So the fact that we take those two first was our win condition.
So can you rephrase the question? I'm not too sure what that means.
Sorry. We took Junkrat and Orisa down first.
Mhm.
That makes us win the fight.
I want to say it wasn't because you took down the Junkrat and the Orisa first. It was because you closed the distance between them.
Oh.
Because here.
Let's go. I'm trapped. Somebody's gotta go. You gotta go.
So the reason why I said that you really closed the distance and it that was what won you the fight was because so originally Orisa was here and then she moved back here. But if the team is able to, just go straight to the point and walk past her shield, right? Is Orisa getting value with her shield? No, right? So then what value is Orisa giving you? Or giving them? Not much. So then once you close that distance and go past her shield, Reinhardt has the advantage because he can pull up his shield whenever he wants. Right? And then he can still deal the damage because most of the enemy team is going to be hiding with the Orisa, right behind that shield. So then once you close that distance, you're able to deal the damage that you really want to deal.
What's the plan now?
Well,
Not to let them get
if
the
they
point.
have a Farah Mercy, we will try to target the Mercy first if they're attached. If
Good
they're
job,
not
Photo.
attached, we'll go for the Farah, I guess.
Basically putting it all on Jim.
And watch out for the Junkrat, because he's scares me.
Junkrat's OP.
Go up there.
Yeah, going back to what I was saying before, you have the downtime between each round,
Creep
so
scared me, I thought you
try to
were
utilize that as best as you can.
Farah.
Pharmacy again.
Oh, I'm very high up now.
The Rista's on the right, and the Diva's on the right.
There she
They're
goes.
going right side.
Shield.
Alright, we lost one. We're down to DPS.
Oh!
I don't have shield. Yeah, there it is. Far's in the window.
Junkrat's coming around.
Gotta prepare for that
She's gonna
Orisa
rotate.
yeet.
To be back up to point.
Yeah, I'm on point.
Okay.
I'm coming back.
Junkrat's high ground.
Junkrat's on high ground.
Yep.
He's
Nice
up.
job, nice job. Nice pull, nice pull, nice pull.
Right here, I would have liked to see Gem rotate to the high ground, so taking the position either down here where the Mega is, or to take the position up here, where Soldier can kind of free roam on the high ground, and the enemy team doesn't really have anyone who can contest him.
Okay. Yeah, I always forget to take like the high ground back there in this map.
Yeah, and actually, so there, you know how there's the windows right here as well, right? So then that still has an okay amount of sightlines as well as this position right here, and it's really easy for a Soldier to rotate, right? Because you know he can run, right? So I think those are kind of points to keep in mind relative to the other team.
Okay.
Her shield's
Mercy's
gonna break.
one.
Huge
She's
wall.
isolated.
Separated,
Isolated.
separated, separated.
Diva.
The Mercy's.
Mercy's low. She's left, behind truck.
There's one.
Damn. I wanted her to.
Old fridge. Bongo.
Pretty sure this is yeet time.
I'm kind of scared of what this yeet time is.
No!
Dang, maybe not.
No, it was way earlier already.
Where'd Cloud go?
Oh,
They're going
snap again?
Yeah, get behind the shield.
Whee!
Yeah.
They're going high ground, I think.
Yeah, they're going high ground.
So, actually, another thing that I wanted to point out, Orisa's really strong with turtling up in this Mega. Because your shield does cover all of that, right? All of that area, but you also have that Mega, so then if your supports get damaged in any way, then they can always go back, heal up there, and then take care of the tanks and the DPS. So I think instead of backing up over here, it could be good to back up here instead.
Makes sense.
Good point.
Yeah, and also Taco asked for a replay, so let me do that.
It's worth the replay.
Bongo.
I didn't even see that one.
They revive at the Junkrat, be careful.
No,
Junkrat,
it's
be
too far.
careful.
Diva.
Junkrat's gonna go up there.
spamming through the window.
It was right after this.
No!
Bear's in the window.
And here's the replay. Cloud is up here.
Off the screen.
Cloud is out of the building.
Over the building.
That's amazing.
Whee! They're going left, or I mean right through the room.
They revive at the Junkrat, be careful.
Yeah, get behind the shield if you can, Taco. I think. Yeah.
They're going high ground, I think.
Yeah, they're going high ground. Mother. Once again,
I need help on point.
You're down a main healer.
Yeah.
Trying to get back as fast as I can.
Baby Diva behind
Diva?
you.
Yeah, she's in there.
That's a very dirty
Are
stack.
they down?
I think so.
Yeah, jump
Jump
shot.
Okay, I will stay here. I'm here. I have Blizzard.
That Pharah definitely has barrage. She hasn't barrage all game.
Okay.
Orisa
Others
right,
going
Orisa
right.
right.
Diva.
She's half.
Blizzard!
Junk's high ground.
I'm on Diva.
Junk's half.
I'm going after him, hold on.
Their mercy's down.
Nice, nice.
Bear's in front of tank. Or truck, whatever.
In front of tank.
I don't know why I called it
They're
tank.
backing up. They're backing
thought
up
you were
for
talking
one
about
last
me.
push.
Nah, well, she was technically in front of you.
Here comes the last push. They're gonna push it hard.
Focus Orisa, I can bomb.
Okay, they're down a healer. They're down a healer.
Pressing Diva, pressing Diva. Be careful.
Junkrat right here.
Got him.
Thank God.
Mercy.
Alright. We held it.
Nice,
Of
nice.
course we did.
Huge
Nice
place all
stuff,
around
man.
there. I like the call outs.
Hold
The was it there was a call out on who you're freezing. There were call outs on again the target focus was really good. Positioning, all of that was really good. So I think that last fight was kind of shows.
That was a nice tire.
And so I do have to go right now. It's getting a little bit late for me and I haven't had dinner. But
Well, thank you for doing this with us.
no problem. I guess do you have any last questions or comments or whatever before I go? So hopefully I can answer them right now.
Do you think we are prepared for the tournament or what do we need as individuals and as team to?
That's a good question, Photo.
So as a team, it was kind of a reoccurring topic throughout this VOD where it was more so just communicating what ultimates you were using, try to do that as best as you can, and going into fights with a plan, right? and you know, everyone buying into it and just going for it. On the flip side, when it comes to individual play, I think positioning, right? Knowing what so knowing what to do with the hero you're on, right? So like if you're playing Sombra, then you know that you need to scout, you know that depending on the situation, maybe you're trying to farm for that EMP or trying to sabotage the enemy team by hacking those health packs, the really important health packs by where they're holding, right? Or whether it's like soldier maintaining that high ground and making sure that you have that position so that if you're playing Mercy, or if you have a Mercy, that Mercy can fly over to you. She has an escape route. Things like that. So yeah, just keeping or not keeping just make sure you're thinking about what that role is supposed to be doing at that given time. Just be cognizant of it.
Sounds good.
Okay, well, I guess anything else or
I'm good.
okay, well, thanks for having me and
Thanks for the feedback.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank you.
Some really good points that I don't think we thought about.
Mm-hmm.
no problem.